Shall we start? Okay. Is anyone else expected or we meet? Okay. Okay. There. Namaskar.
Good morning.
Okay. Again, good morning, everyone. The others should either mute or I think there's some echo. Yeah. Before we start, that you have to. Where is the echo coming from? Is it? Okay. Here I am sitting in NCF office in Kathmandu. It's good to be here after a very long time. So before I start, maybe we can just have a quick introduction about who's in the room, and then we can start the proceedings for today. So maybe we'll start with Madam.
Thank you, Mr. Balu. He's the Regional Director, ICA AP. We are good morning and namaste to all. And we are living in National Cooperative Federation of Nepal, our office, head office now. And shall I go introduce myself first? I am Devi Malla, Senior Vice Chairperson in National Cooperative Federation and a Global Board Member, International Cooperative Alliance, ICA.
Good morning, everyone. Balu Ayar, Om Deviji, our immediate past chairperson, everyone. I am Mean Raj Kadel, chairperson of National Cooperative Federation of Nepal. We are in our meeting room, National Cooperative Federation Nepal. Welcome all of you person in this meeting. Thank you.
Namaste and good morning to everybody. Baluji, our chairman, Minraj Kondil, sir, Omdev Malla, sir, KB Preti ji, our general manager, Chitra Kumar Thamsang Subba, all the officers, and my name is Keshav Badal. Okay, thank you.
Namaste and good morning everyone from National Cooperative Federation of Nepal. This is Chitra Kumari Thamsang Subba and I'm a General Manager of National Cooperative Federation of Nepal. Thank you. Thank you all.
Good morning everybody. Very warm welcome from the NCF. I am Babul Khnal. I am the Deputy General Manager of this our National Cooperative Federation of Nepal. Thank you very much.
Namaste, everyone. It's me, Amit Adhikari, Program Officer of NCF. Thank you.
Namaste. I'm K.V. Upadhyay. I'm Chairman of National Cooperative Bank, NCBL, and Board of Director of NCF.
Hey everyone, I am Achyutam Thapa, Monitoring Officer of NCF. Thank you.
Namaste and good morning. Me, Suresh Thapa from National Cooperative Federation of Nepal, International Relation and Program Officer. Thank you. Program Officer. Thank you.
Namaste. My name is Khembahadur Pathak, Nepal Agriculture Cooperative Center Federation Chairperson.
Namaste, I'm Meena Pokhrel, Deputy General Manager of Nepal Agriculture Cooperative Center Federation. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you everyone for the introduction. And I see that online, few of my colleagues from the ICAP regional office are there, and also Professor Kurimoto who's joined us online. Again, let me welcome you all to this consultation on the cooperative identity, perspectives from the Asia Pacific region. This is the fourth consultation that we are having. The first one was with members in the Philippines, the second with members in Iran. Then we had one with the ACO countries, the ASEAN Cooperative Organization, which includes Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, Myanmar, and other ASEAN countries. And now today we are having this consultation with members in Nepal. And the reason why we are having this more on a sub-region or country-wise is because the Asia Pacific is quite vast in geography. So it's very difficult to bring everyone together on the same platform and to be able to get the perspective. So we thought it would be good to break it up into countries or sub-regions. And in Nepal, again, we have 5 members with NCF as the apex organization, NACCFL as Agriculture Federation, NCBL as the Banking Federation, NCDB as the Development Board, and NEMCU as a multi-purpose cooperative. In 2020, ICA celebrated 125 years of its existence. And it wanted to have the Congress in 2020 in Seoul, but because of the pandemic, it had to be postponed. And we are hoping to have it in November, December this year. And it will be, given the pandemic situation is still evolving, the Congress will be a hybrid model. It will be in person and it will also be online. So it will be a hybrid model. In 2020, the ICA also celebrated 25 years of the cooperative identity, the statement of cooperative identity. I don't know if some of you all in this room were in Manchester in 1995. That's when the 31st Congress was held, where the statement of cooperative identity was updated. So we now have the definition of what cooperative, what a cooperative is, what are the cooperative values, and what are the cooperative principles. These were all put in place and approved by the ICA General Assembly in 1995. So in 2020, we also celebrated 25 years of the cooperative identity. And the theme for the Congress, 33rd Congress in Seoul, is deepening the cooperative identity. So it's 25 years since the identity statement was first approved. And in 2015, ICA had formed before that, ICA had formed the Principals Committee to look at the statement of cooperative identity and see what needs to be updated, how is it being put in practice, what are the current issues. For the statement of cooperative identity and the principles, and that while the values are there, the principles are not cast in stone. It's not meant to be fixed. It's meant to be reviewed on a periodic basis based on what the current situation is, what does it mean, how do these principles, how do we apply them. And we are now in a very good point in time with the COVID-19 pandemic and the way countries have been affected, cooperatives have been affected, members have been affected. And what has also been affected is the way in which we work, the way in which we interact with each other. Even today, many of us, we are maintaining social distance, we are wearing masks, working from home. This is going to continue. So there is a change in the way in which we interact. There is also the change in which we are working. Technology has been rapidly put in place. There are new areas which are coming up, which we need to look into. So what do these principles mean in the current time? So that's something which the Congress will discuss. But and it will also reflect, it's an opportunity to reflect in terms of how the cooperative statement of identity has been put into practice, what are the current challenges, how do we move forward. We in the Asia Pacific region thought that it will also be good to hear from members in each country in terms of how is the statement of cooperative identity being implemented in the country. Is it being implemented 100%, 90%? Which are the principles where there are issues? What do we see are the challenges? How does it help us? Does having the statement of cooperative identity help us in terms of our interaction with government, in interaction with stakeholders, in looking at our interaction with members, etc.? So we thought this would be a good way for us to get feedback from our members, and that's what this consultation is for. And we have two experts, two advisors, I would say two advisors, Ms. Om Devi Malla here, who's the Senior Vice Chairperson of NCF, and also the representative on the ICA Global Board. She's also on the committee, on the Congress Advisory Committee. So we thought we are having her as one of the advisors to provide a broad overview of the cooperative identity and what it means. And we also have Professor Kurimoto, Akira Kurimoto, who's the chair of the ICAP Research Committee. And Professor Kurimoto was on the Principals Committee in 2015 when ICA updated the guidance note. Professor Kurimoto was one of the members of the Principals Committee, and as chair of the Research Committee, he has a number of years. He's been seeing the development of cooperatives in the Asia Pacific region and also been looking at how the principles have been put in place. So I think we are very fortunate, and we'd like to thank both of them for giving us the time and being part of these consultations and providing their advice and providing their input. So we are very thankful to both of them. So the way the consultation, today's meeting will work, we had the original thing is to have it for 2 hours, given that we started a little late. So we'll maybe go over 10 to 15 minutes more. We will first have the perspective from Ms. Om Devi Malla, perspective from the ICA board, global board level on what the cooperative identity is and what the thinking from a global board level is. And then we will have Professor Kurimoto make his presentation about what he sees as perspectives from his viewpoint, both as a earlier member of the Principals Committee and as also the chair of the Research Committee. And after that, we will open it up for discussion. And in the paper and background note which I had shared with you all, there are 4 broad questions. One is, how does the statement of cooperative identity guide our day-to-day operations of cooperatives? How is it that we are seeing it in practice in our day-to-day work? How can we leverage the cooperative identity in terms of the current global challenges? The pandemic is what everyone is going through. Given these challenges, do we see that the cooperative identity is holding us in good stead? And here in Nepal, I see all in this room, there is a poster here where you mentioned cooperative identity, building resilience in the face of pandemic. So I think you all have very much internalized it, and you all see it as how being relevant in the current time. So it would be good if you all could talk more about how that's being put in place in the current times. How do we use the statement of cooperative? That the third question is, as a competitive advantage in comparison to, say, the private sector, in comparison to non-profit organizations and others. Or how do we see the cooperative identity providing us the competitive advantage? And finally, the fourth question is, how does it help us in our relationship with the government and stakeholders? So those are the 4 broad questions, so which we will discuss. I'd like you all to provide your perspective from your respective, both as an individual cooperative member and from your organization's perspective. And then we'll take question and answers and close the thing. So it's a 2-hour consultation. So again, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. And I'd now like to request Ms. Omdevi Malla to make a presentation. And given that we are in Nepal, we are in person, so Ms. Malla can also talk in Nepali so that it is better understood. I apologize for Professor Kurimoto and my colleagues in Delhi office, but I think this will help us in our discussion.
Okay.
So
Thank you, Mr. Balu. Respected Chairperson Minraj Kadel, respected ex-Chairperson and ex-Minister Mr. Keshav Prasad Badal, member Board of Director of KB Cooperative and Board of Director Kim Bahadur Pathak, Regional Director of Mr. Balwire, General Manager Chitra Kumari Subba, Deputy General Manager Babul Khanal, CEO of National Cooperative Bank, Mr. Badri Guragai, Deputy CEO of Agriculture, Central Agriculture Cooperative Federation, Meena Cooperative, and all officers from NCF. Namaste, and Dr. Professor Mr. Kurimoto, sorry for say you, welcome in this meeting, and I am going to start the first small background. The ICA Congress, the ICA Congress formally adopted Rosedale Principle in 1937 as guidelines for cooperative to operate. The Statement of Cooperative Identity, SCI, is the combined document of cooperative principle and values was developed by ICA Congress in 1995. The SCI is guide for guidelines operating cooperative. The SCI is not a rigid document as rules, so we should follow this in our movement in our cooperative sector. The SCI is the ethical spirit to follow as per the national rules and regulation, maintaining the governance to meet the economic, social, cultural needs and aspirations of the members through a jointly owned enterprise. I'm going to continue. The SCI guides not only to cooperators for operating the cooperative business, but also to cooperative promoter, regulators, government, and civil societies worldwide. Another one, moreover, SCI direct to the new generations, future leaders, etc. in 21st century. Cooperative and global challenges. Cooperative are social business, but they are not beyond the global effect. COVID-19 pandemic, extreme poverty, food security, climate change, financial crisis, access to education, technological innovation, all peace and common global challenges. Cooperatives have own SDGs and have proactively been implementing them with their own unique approaches at international, regional, and local level. In my opinion, I'm giving two examples. The national level federation could develop guidelines for all level of cooperative societies and unions in achieving 17th SDG. The Union and central level cooperative could start working with different level of government to formulate rules and regulations and do continue lobbying advocacy with central, province, and local level government to promote SDG. I'm going to continue now also. They build the social capital, unite people for their socio-economic, cultural, and environmental benefits driven by the SCI. The competitive advantage of cooperative approach a way to fight against the global challenges. And another one, what is the challenge of SCI? Cooperative contribute best to society. Another one, they should be developed as natural movement to formalize the informal economic or as agent to narrow the gaps between haves and haves not. In some cases, government influence cooperative as an implementing instrument of their plan, policy, and programs pose changes. Continue profit-seeking individual mindset, tendency of enjoying autonomy freely, taking cooperative as forums of gaining political interest, etc. Challenge the true application of SCI in the operation of cooperative. Another chapter, why of overcoming SCI, access of cooperative education to every segment of society could be the first option to change the individual mindset into collective interest with good governance for the benefit of humanity. Another intervention could be formal cooperative education in school, college, and university. Promotion of digitization and innovation in cooperatives is another option to overcome the challenges in the competitive world. Cooperative advantage of SCI. The competitive advantage of the SCI is to attract youth, women, and marginalized segments of the society. The diversity of membership has opened possibility of involving new generation as future leader. Fifth principle of training, education, and information provide opportunity to the newcomers through the school and college education. Another numbers, stakeholder support versus SCI. The role of the national apex body is to safeguard the SCI in their own national context, lacking with internal and external stakeholders. Stakeholder support versus SCI, continue. I'm giving also example here. The sixth principle, cooperation among cooperative, and also one of the values is solidarity. the National Cooperative Federation could from a link and give access to primary, district, province, and center level. This link will be a common platform to all cooperative requesting budget with local government. Such budget will be useful to develop human resource and use of advanced technology, cooperative, business promotion, etc. Another UN resolution in 2001 and ILO recommendation 193 for the promotion of cooperative partnership with FAO, ILO for long-term European Union and other stakeholders shine a light on the growing awareness of the importance of cooperative in tackling poverty and inequality. At the last, in summary, cooperation among the cooperative direct used to work collaboratively within cooperative network based on ICA. Concern for the community deserve the separate identity of cooperative to collaborate with the government, development partners, and other agencies to enhance the wide range of partnership. Member democracy control deserve the supremacy of member of the true application of SCI. Thank you so much for your attention, Balu sir. I need some few minutes time for Nepali language.
Maybe Suresh, if you could translate it so that others are able to.
Yes. Can मैले चाहिँ अलिकति नेपालीमा भन्न लागु र अघि पनि बालु साहबले सबै त्यो कुरा ब्रिफ गरिराख्नु भएको छ। यो चाहिँ किन चाहिँ यो सबै देशमा चाहिँ यो कलेक्ट गरेर हिँडिराखेको छ भनेर भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ अहिले आइसिए यो कन्सुलेसन एन्ड द कोअपरेटिभ आइडेन्टिटी भनेर चाहिँ यसले चाहिँ 6 वटा मेन चाहिँ यो 6 वटा बुदामा अघि हाम्रो जिएम साहबलाई पनि दिएको थियो सुरेशजीले, मैले अरु साथीहरुलाई पनि मैले फोटोकपी गर्न पठाएको छु र स्पेशली 6 वटा पोइन्टमा चाहिँ यो आइडेन्टिटी कसरी सुरु भएर यसको महत्व के हो भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ यसले गरिरहेको छ र अहिले कोअपरेटिभ कांग्रेस सिउलमा चाहिँ यसको बारेमा चाहिँ अब गोष्ठी नै हुँदैछ र
Suresh can translate a little.
Okay. Let him first and then
let him you just spoke, so you can translate that and then after that.
Yes, thank you very much. So I'm talking about the cooperative identity and its importance. There are basically 6 cooperative identity that we are talking today.
यो चाहिँ यो कोअपरेटिभ एससीआई भनेको चाहिँ यो द स्टेटमेन्ट अन कोअपरेटिभ आइडेन्टिटी भनेर भनेको चाहिँ यो सहकारी पहिचान पत्र हो भने मैले नेपालीमा यो तयार गरेको छु र यो चाहिँ दैनिक सहकारी सञ्चालनमा चाहिँ यसले चाहिँ सहयोग पुर्याउँछ भनेर भनिरहेको छ। अहिले आइसिएले चाहिँ स्पेशली यो सहकारीमा चाहिँ हामीले मूल्य मान्यता सिद्धान्तलाई चाहिँ फलो गरेन भने यो कुनै हालतमा सहकारी हुन सक्दैन भन्ने कुरालाई गरेको छ र अहिलेको कोअपरेटिभ कांग्रेसमा नि यही गर्नको लागि विभिन्न देशबाट यो चाहिँ कसरी लागू गरेको छ भनेर चाहिँ उहाँ बालु साहबले रिजनल डाइरेक्टरहरूले यो कामहरु गरिरहेका छ।
So I'm talking about the SCI, which is the introductory statement later, and SCI actually said that we must have to follow the values, principle, and philosophy of the cooperatives.
Can you mute your mic?
आइसिएले बनाएको थियो त्यसलाई नै 6वटा सिद्धान्तलाई नै आत्मसात गरेर आइराखेको थियो।
This SCI is a cooperative statement introduced from Manchester regarding this Coop principle.
र मैले त्यसलाई चाहिँ यो नै एउटा चाहिँ
The Rosedale principle in 1995 has been developed as a principle for concern for cooperatives and community, and it is the basis of this principle of SCI.
र आइसिएले राष्ट्रिय क्षेत्रीय
And this SCI has been developed in consultation with a lot of stakeholders from different regions.
सहकारी पहिचान बढ्दै आर्थिक सामाजिक र सांस्कृतिक
The SCI is not actually the legislation or legal document, but it provides us to be in the frame of, and it is one of the freelancer documents. It bonds us to be in some.
चाहिँ एउटा पहिचान पत्र प्रभावकारी बनाउन चाहिँ यो मार्गदर्शन पत्र पनि ल्याएको छ
And ICA has released this SCI in the form of cooperative identity and cooperative guidance note from International Cooperative Alliance.
र सहकारी मार्गदर्शन
The cooperative identity and cooperative guidance is one of the holy paper for the cooperators to implement in their daily life. So we must have to follow this guidance note, and we must have to follow through all cooperators effectively and yes.
भनेको के हो त भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ सरकारलाई समेत नागरिकलाई समेत चाहिँ सचेत बनाउन मार्गनिर्देशन चाहिँ गर्छ यो पत्रले यो एससीआईले चाहिँ.
The SCI is not only the principle to follow, but it also guides the government and other stakeholders. And these documents also shows the way for the coming generations. This SCI helps to overcome the challenges faced by cooperatives. Because of this reason, the global community is signing on the global document of SDG to fight against, and it is also relevant to all stakeholders, civil society, cooperatives, and so on.
Madam Om Devi Mallaji is muted.
So SCIs is also the remedy to overcome the challenges to implement the cooperative identity, values, and principles. And SCI is the comprehensive documents of cooperative principle, values, and philosophy. So the SCI is also is a document which identified the differences between cooperatives and other businesses. So the cooperative sector can change the society only when cooperators follow the cooperative's values, rules, regulations, and philosophy. The global challenge is cooperatives are not able to follow the cooperative principle and values correctly, and they are very much related to business orientation. Among the 6 points, the comparative advantage of the SCI is to enroll different peoples in the cooperative, such as youth and uh, other people. The SCI helps to keep sound relation with government and other stakeholders. The SCIs plays crucial role to introduce this SCI in the global forums. So keeping a very good relation with government and other stakeholders, this SCI helps the federations of different countries to create enabling environment for their cooperators. In other words, the cooperative concerned stakeholder is government. Fourth SCI points is related to the autonomy and independence of the cooperatives, and it is also related to the stakeholders. Once in 1995, the ICA published the Cooperative Guidance Note.
पछि चाहिँ संयुक्त राष्ट्र सङ्घ अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय श्रम सङ्गठन विश्व खाद्य तथा कृषि सङ्गठन भनेर चाहिँ मान्यता चाहिँ दिएको अवस्था छ दिएको छ.
And after that point, different global organizations such as ILO, FAO, and international organizations identified and considered cooperatives as a vehicle to change the society.
Share also this in my own colleagues.
Okay.
Chairman.
So this much from my side, and I thank you all for your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Mala. Can I now request Professor Kurimoto to make his presentation?
Okay. So I shall share the slides. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So, good afternoon. Namaste. I am speaking from Japan. I have been in Nepal only once in the 90s to visit the cooperatives and the registrar at that time, but I couldn't have time to climb to the mountains. As you may notice that my background of this conversation is picked from Japan Alps, not Japan Himalaya, but Japan Alps. So I love mountaineering, and once I'd love to visit Nepal again to go to the mountains, not to the summit, because of my age. I'd like to make some trekking in the high mountains in Nepal. Okay, so I shall talk about the deepening cooperative identity from the Asia-Pacific perspectives. Why cooperative identity matters now? We witness the growing inequality, political and social divides, while we are threatened by the consequences of climate change and rampant pandemics. To succeed overcoming these challenges, we desperately need the cooperation and solidarity among people. In such a difficult time, we have to address such global issues relying on our basics, namely cooperative identity, crystallized in the ICA statement on cooperative identity, agreed as the greatest common factor among worldwide cooperators in 1995. The ICA statement was included in the United Nations Cooperative Guidelines and the ILO Recommendations 193 on promotion of cooperatives. The ICA Principal Committee published the guidance notes of cooperative principles in 2015 to help understanding and practicing principles. I was a member of this committee, and we have prepared these documents, but I think it's too lengthy to read, and so we should have more concise one. So now, as Baru had mentioned, now we are celebrating 125 years of the ICA, but the cooperative history even dates back to the earlier time. Rothschild pioneer society rules gradually evolved to the principles since 1844. The Rothschild principles enshrined in the rule books from 1960. It's 1860, so almost 150, 60 years ago. And the first configuration of cooperative principles in 1937, ICA Congress. Second configuration of cooperative principles in 1966, ICA Congress. And ILO recommendation 127 on cooperatives in developing countries in the same year. And finally, we have approved the ICA identity statement at 1995 ICA Congress in Manchester that contains the definition of a cooperative values, and cooperative principles that are universal in its essence. Very briefly, I'd like to recall the development of this statement from Ledrow's report in the year 1980. And then he had pointed out the cooperatives facing the ideological crisis or identity crisis. And Lars Marcus, a Swede, he had made a report on the cooperative and basic values at the ICA 1988 Congress in Stockholm and focused on membership as a core of cooperative values, answering the Ledrow's question, and enlisted member participation, adherence to democracy, honesty, and caring for others, these four basic values. Then it was also refined by Sven Åke Buch. He's also a Swede. He had made a report on cooperative values in the changing world at the ICA Congress in 1992 in Tokyo. And finally, 3 years later, the ICA identity statement written by Ian McPherson, a Canadian, was approved unanimously. But Asia-Pacific region has the vast diversity, as Baru had mentioned. And Asia-Pacific cooperatives operate under such very much diversified circumstances. Asian cooperatives are characterized by the dominant state roles in regulation and promotion, while Pacific cooperatives face strong competition with the for-profit sector, so quite different. The British Empire introduced the Cooperative Credit Societies Act of India with strong government control in 1904. That became a prototype of cooperative legislation in most of the colonized countries, including Nepal. Even after the independence, such top-down tradition was inherited since the national leaders, independence leaders, had seen cooperatives as an engine for national development. The ICA Asia Pacific has convened the biennial Cooperative Ministers Conference since 1990, aiming to strengthen cooperative autonomy and independence, the fourth principle, based on the constructive partnership, but the progress had been very slow. There are many reasons. The bureaucrats, politicians don't wish to lose their very dominant roles to cooperatives, while cooperatives had very strong dependence culture. So from the government side, from cooperative side, this very strong dominant culture of dependence still continues. So from Asia-Pacific cooperative perspectives, how we shall deepen the cooperative identity. For the first principle on the voluntary and open membership addresses no discrimination. In the Asian context, the participation of women and youth is most relevant issue since male and senior leaders are prevalent in cooperatives, reflecting on the embedded dominant culture, male dominant and senior dominant culture. There are cooperatives exclusively composed of women in India, Iran, Malaysia to avoid gender discrimination, while women occupy a majority of membership and board members in consumer cooperatives in Japan and South Korea. The youth is also underrepresented groups, while the lack of youth participation may endanger the sustainability of cooperatives. As to the second principle, the democratic control is concerned with the internal governance of cooperative. Recently, we witnessed the failure of governance leading to the serious setbacks of the cooperatives. You can see the cooperative group, cooperative bank in the United Kingdom, and one of the most thrived workers' cooperative in Spanish, Mondragon cooperatives had bankrupted. So there are some serious setbacks. So we have elaborated the guidance note to the cooperative principles, exhibits guidelines for a wide range of governance issues. To cope with governance failures we had in Japan, the Japanese Consumer Cooperative Union published the guidelines for sound governance in 1999. But already more than 20 years had passed. We have to renew these guidelines. The third principle, the member economic participation, deals with members' obligation in strengthening the capital base of cooperative. A cooperative has inherent difficulty in raising capital because of limited return on investment and equal voting rights. Some cooperatives in Australia and New Zealand were demutualized or went to the public companies, but it is not so popular in most of the Asian countries. In Japan, agricultural cooperatives run the world-class banks, Norinchuki Bank, but huge amount of farmers' deposit is not effectively utilized, while consumer cooperatives build up members' share through monthly installment. So in case of Japan, cooperatives are not demanding capital. We have enough money, but the new cooperatives, workers' cooperatives, or freelancers cooperatives need to, or health cooperative need to raise capital. So those accumulated capital should be transferred to those sectors which need such capital. Fourth principle, autonomy and independence, is a principle newly added in 1995. It is especially relevant to the Asian cooperatives since cooperatives are still by and large under the strong state control. To establish, including Japan, I must say, to establish the constructive partnership based on the equality, both states and cooperatives need to change their attitudes. The states has to confine itself to legal supervision in accordance with the United Nations or ILO guidelines, while the cooperatives have to build capacities in strategic planning and coordination so as to be more independent in policy making. Fifth principles, education, training, and information, is a principle enlisted since the time of Rochdale pioneers. Member education is essential for the success of cooperatives, while manager-employee training are conducted at various levels, local, regional, national, or international levels. In this regard, the school cooperatives or university cooperatives in many Asian countries are conducive to the cooperative development in the long run. In the information age, the importance of public relations is increasingly recognized, but cooperatives tend to lag behind in utilizing state-of-the-art digital devices. I mean the computers and internet. The sixth principle, cooperatives among cooperatives. Cooperatives of the same kind are naturally federated at regional and national levels, while the collaboration among different kinds of cooperatives need to be facilitated. In Japan, the direct transaction between consumers and producers, we call it sanchoku, have been promoted by consumer and farmer fishery cooperatives to enhance understanding each other and realize mutual benefits since the 1970s, while the Japan Cooperative Alliance was set up as a think tank covering all types of cooperatives 3 years ago. ASEAN Cooperative Organization, ACO, need to create tangible benefits. Finally, the seventh principle, concern for community, is a new principle added in 1995. This is related to cooperatives' community engagement. In the Asia-Pacific region, prone to natural disasters caused by earthquakes, tsunami, and typhoons, cyclones that frequently brought formidable human and monetary losses. We can note the cooperative responses to such calamities in both rescue and rehabilitation phases. We observed cooperative endeavors to rehabilitate victims' life in Indonesia, India, Sri Lanka, and so on after the Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami in 2004. After the Kobe earthquake in 1995 and the East Japan earthquake tsunami in 2011 in Japan, the Japanese cooperatives made tremendous efforts to rescue victims and help them to rehabilitate their lives. And we have succeeded to enact the new law to assist the victims in 1998. So in this regard, we can strengthen our capacity to serve for our communities. And after the earthquake in Nepal, many international aids came to Nepal, including the cooperative ones. I have many friends who have contributed some money or even volunteers to Nepal to help victims. And so this is a tradition of cooperative solidarity enshrined in the seventh principle. So finally, in conclusion, we need to find best practices deepening cooperative identity in the Asia-Pacific region. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Kurimoto, for your presentation. You touched upon, I think, the relevance of the principles, all the 7 principles across the Asia-Pacific region, giving specific examples from many countries from across the region. It will be now good to hear from in Nepal what the current, in the current context, how is the cooperative identity being put in place? What are the challenges? How does it help in relationship with the government? And how can we use the identity in order to attract young people? So maybe we'll just start with the first question in terms of, given the current COVID-19 challenges, how have the cooperatives in Nepal used the identity in order to put cooperatives, address the needs of members, address the needs with the government and different stakeholders? So how was the cooperative identity relevant during the current pandemic in Nepal? And I'd just like to request whoever wants to speak can speak, but keep others, you can unmute yourself and speak, and others to keep muted while you're talking. So during the current pandemic, how did the cooperative movement in Nepal use the identity to position cooperatives?
Okay, thank you very much. Again, good morning and namaste to you all. Actually, the National Cooperative Federation of Nepal, as a apex body of Nepalese cooperative movement of Nepal, we are organizing a number of programs, including training and education. And in every training program, we introduce the SCI, the cooperative principles and values. And as you know, the many enterprises, small, medium, and large size of industry and other business have been affected by COVID-19 pandemic. However, the member-based cooperatives who followed the cooperative principles and values, they are not so much, they are less affected from this pandemic. And National Cooperative Federation of Nepal, we published the guidance, translated guidance note on the cooperative principles in Nepali, in our Nepali version. And we end this one, and we disseminate this one to the all cooperatives all over the country. We believe that it will help, it will support to encourage every cooperatives to follow the cooperative identity. And also National Cooperative Federation in Nepal, we have registered the N-Coop brand. N means Nepal Cooperative N-Coop brand in the Department of Industry, and let's hope we are receiving soon the brand. And during the let me actually during the earthquake in 2015 in Nepal, a number of cooperatives they are supported, and they are engaged in rescue and rehabilitation program for the affected people. And also National Cooperative Federation of Nepal, we received the support from the IPCO also, as this is the sixth as per the sixth principles, cooperation among cooperatives. We received the what we can say, the relief package. We received the relief package, and we distributed to the affected districts, most affected districts, and also our cooperators. And not only the packages, we distributed the packages from received from the IPCO. We also appealed to all cooperatives all over the country to support to engage in the rescue and rehabilitation program during the earthquake, during the time of earthquake. And also just let me inform all of you, we also received the fund from ICA and also All China Federation of Supply and Marketing Cooperatives, also from JHNCU. We received the amount, the fund, and we distributed to the cooperatives who are affected who are affected from the earthquake. We distributed as a grant, and also we also supported them to rehabilitate their business, to restructure. And during the pandemic, during the COVID-19 pandemic, we established one COVID health center. COVID Cooperative Health Center. with the support of also national NHCCFL, NEPSCUN, and also some of the primary cooperatives. They also support to the fund, and we established one cooperative COVID center, health center at the Monmouth Medical Hospital, which is also run by the cooperative. Yeah. And also the government of Nepal, they also supported to this center. Yes. And also just a minute, and also we supported to the government, local level government and provincial level government and national level government. We also supported, we also supported as a fund to 3-level cooperatives, around 10 crore Nepalese rupees. Yes. Actually, during the COVID-19 pandemic situation, many cooperatives they run their business. Also, they provided the services to their members. Yeah, they collected milk, they collected vegetables, and they sell to the consumers. And also they also provided to door-to-door services to their members during that the lockdown period. Okay, anything left? Okay, NFCCL. Okay. Thank you, everyone. If there is anything left, we'll again add. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, we'll send. Okay, thank you very much. This much from NCF.
Okay, during COVID-19 pandemic, we did same as usual, that we prepare database as to which cooperatives are throwing their agro products, which cooperative is not able to sell their agro product even in near market, and as to how they are suffering from COVID-19. And once we compile all the database, and then we started to provide the services. First, we started to provide the seed, and as our colleague from Japan, as professor, he presented that concern for the community, that in principle that we selected on the basis of inequalities, that Meiji community and do Chamar and do communities that and even social communities, my chairperson, and that we provided the seed for the seasonal seed-based and agriculture calendar developed by NSCCFL. And then again, we provided fertilizer. At that time, it was very scarce to get both seed and agriculture tools. And that is what first intervention of the NSCCFL. And then we started to coordinate with government of Nepal, especially Ministry of Agriculture. And at that time also, it was almost all completely locked down, but government asked us to develop the database for the farmers for rice producer to support the minimum support price. This is the first time of Nepal that government started the minimum support price for rice, and then it is in pipeline, the wheat and others also. That is also we did during the lockdown. And then being the agriculture federation, we developed so many integrated price management, document, brochure, publication, pamphlets, and it has been also circulated to all the member cooperatives as to how to cope with the even in the COVID-19 situations in terms of agriculture perspectives. And as Balusar already know that during the earthquake also and flood also, we did a lot of activities in close collaboration with the ICA and Pacific, and we did the similar activities, similar or more or less same activities for the other cooperatives as what we did during the flood and earthquake, that we distributed seedling, horticulture seedlings also within this community. That is what we did. And another that just now our chairman is saying that we facilitate to coordinate with local provincial level government for the primary cooperatives, and this is the time for you to go there to okay, they are providing this type of support. Why don't you have going here like this? We get this type of information also to cooperatives. And this is first time for us, for NSCCFL, I think for other organizations also. We use very good, that is for the first time we are using the technology like Zoom and others means a team and all these things. And I got to wonder to see sometimes that the participation, number of participants that is they are using the they are using this platform, and it is also an opportunity for us also that almost all cooperatives who has access to internet, they are able to join, they are able to that this is also it's the plus point for us to disseminate the information, being a federation of the agriculture cooperatives.
Thank you for that. Maybe now NCBL.
So also please.
Thank you. Chairman. And ILO अनि UN FAO इत्यादि मार्फत चाहिँ हाम्रो अर्गनाइजेसन त्यस्तो कुनै सहयोग लिङ्क अप छैन अनि ICA मा भएको नि के अर्थ भयो ICAP मा भएको नि के अर्थ भयो हामीले एकदम उहाँहरुको फलो गरेर पनि के अलि लिङ्क अप भएपछि प्रोजेक्टहरु हामी अगाडि बढाउन पाऊँ कन्सर्न प्रोजेक्टहरु यसकारण यो दुईटा चाहिँ मैले सजेसन गरेँ वी आर द कन्टिन्यू SEO. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I am just showing the screen over there. This is direct impact in cooperative sector. This is slightly old presentation. So some data may be changed right now. In terms of COVID-19 Coop response, these are some pictures which is being done by Central Agriculture Federation. That is what I wrote there. Central Agriculture Federation has initiated Rotary market in capital of Nepal, right? Because at that time there was a shortage of basic foods, and Central Agriculture Federation did it, and they did very well and wonderful job linking the farmers and the consumers. This is some picture over there. In terms of social responsibility, as earlier highlighted by GM Saab, Corona Central Cooperative Center has been established, which will cure the COVID impacted patients, practically giving the preference to the cooperative sector. And NCF created a fund for the cooperative sector to control and prevention of pandemic. So that is also somehow help us. Sorry, this is okay. And this is about various cooperatives have organized blood donation program to overcome situation of blood scarcity being visualized in hospitals because of pandemic. Nobody was there to donate it. People cannot move, right? So we organized that. Provision for food for refugee by cooperatives in coordination with district federations and local government. People stuck on the way to their destination and they were not having sufficient food, right? So people, cooperatives provide food in coordination with district federation of cooperatives and local government. Cooperative distribute health and sanitary items to members and local level government because we were having a severe lack of medical facility at that time and the pandemic. We provide press jackets to journalists also to collect the information. Direct contribution to government central fund at central level and local level by cooperative. These are some picture of distribution of food in orphanage and old age homes. Arrangement food for the daily wages earners because they don't have job, they don't have work. So for that, financial cooperatives, which is credit union. Many cooperatives have opened the office with the minimal staff and also provide door-to-door service for emergency financial support. Various cooperatives have declared rebate in interest paid during the lockdown period and also extension of the maturity period of loan for members' convenience. Loan facility without collateral and interest free for 3 months has been made to meet the basic livelihood requirement. This is very unique idea. Some of the cooperatives gives 3-month interest-free loan just to meet their basic livelihood requirements. No charge levied on use of digital banking such as ATMs, mobile banks that is operated by cooperatives. Right now around 40 to 50 cooperatives are operating ATMs. Now I'm talking about NCBL responses, right? NCBL regional branches have been open for all the business days and the rest branches are open on a weekly schedule and as per the need of the members. Financial needs of members not being able to travel have been fulfilled through door-to-door service. We have some vehicles, we have passed at that time given by government, and we got a call from cooperatives because some of the cooperatives wants to send money to their kids abroad and they have money with us and then they want to take that money back from cooperatives and they call the cooperatives and cooperatives keep calling us and we go with money to them and take a check, even though there is a risk whether the sign will match or not, right? But we give the door-to-door service. Two types of product paper launch. One is COVID emergency liquidity management loan. This is for cooperatives. And another is COVID livelihood loan product. If a cooperative submit us a detail giving a money to their members who don't have basic money to minimum money to livelihood of their life, then we will reimburse them as a loan, not as a grant, but as a loan, right? 10% rebate on loan interest payment made during third quarter, rebate of all kind of penalties, extension of loan maturity period that we did, high interest on deposit despite of other banks and financial institutions are already reducing interest on deposit. Awareness raising appeal have been circulated among the members. Various groups have been created in managers of members cooperative to stay updated with their health situation, their financial needs, and remain solidarity with cooperative principles. We form so many groups informally over Vivers and keep updating what is their situation, how can we help them. In terms of staff management, we initiated work from home concept, provision of motivation allowances proposed for the frontline staff. Per day 500 Nepalese rupees we give to the staff who come and serve on the pandemic period. High level of security maintained as per the government prescription. We did staff insurance and board of director insurance for the COVID, and mechanism created to update the health situation. Every staff needs to update what is their health net. And yeah, as I already said, and planning for supporting to local government also in that time. And we also developed the strategic paper for cooperatives to combat COVID-19. We also capture online data from cooperatives, our support made to combating COVID-19, lobby for rebate on tax to the cooperatives, disaster relief fund been formulated in our bank, and also we are lobbying for government of Nepal. So this is how we respond during the crisis. And I believe that at that time, if you were here, I got a call and a message from the all local government saying that all private quarters closed their business. They wait for their safety, but cooperatives were on field to serving their members. That is very unique and appealing. And we believe our image has been, how to say, improved compared to that pandemic and response made by us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Is there anyone else from any other organization? No. Thank you very much for providing the overview of how cooperatives have responded during the pandemic. The next question which I have, again, it's open.
For the benefit of our mass people, what he has highlighted that I want to bring it here.
Sure.
The one of our members cooperative, who Sahara Nepal, I want to take a name of it. They give so many support to local community. They distribute, hygiene kit. They conduct the quarantine also. They provide the food and all from their fund. Right now, the regulator is going there and they are saying why you did it, right? Because they are not their members, and we need to advocate it very seriously.
Yeah, the quarantine also make a quarantine also. Yeah.
And another is
suggestion too.
Oh, exactly.
Link through the ICAP. Like you want
we can
link the ICA and ICAP, and so this project is run by the member. Yeah,
and we conduct our AGM electronically this time, first time. And
can I just go to the next question? In terms of what do you all see as challenges in implementing the statement of cooperative identity among cooperatives in Nepal? What are the challenges that you all are seeing? maybe we can start with Mr. Barad and then go. What challenges do you see as far as the statement of cooperative identity?
Thank you very much, Baluji, Mindaji, all our participants from Nepal, and mostly from Japan, Akira Korimoto, including in this program. Thank you very much for a very interesting presentation have done. Opening by Balware, a paper presentation, Omdev Mallaji, Chitra Thamsangji, Mina Pokhriyalji, KB Upretiji, and Patri Kuragaiji. So many interesting things have been presented here. I want to tell all our participants from Nepal and Mr. Akira Korimoto also. I want to show this document. This is very, very important document created by ICA. And in Nepal, in short terms, this I already translate in Nepali also. This is very important things. I want to from the UNCF about the SDG. This is also include this question which we are going to by, and this in Nepali. This book also what we have to do all over the world, cooperative leaders, managers, and what is the what we have to do, members, managers, all the staff of cooperative and cooperative leader. We must learn and go in practice in these things. Other things also produced by National Cooperative Federation. This is very important in among today's presenter, Akira Korimoto. This document, more than 10 years text, is a very, very important to all over the world cooperator, not only Asia AP, all over the world cooperative is very important document. This built by ICA, Jen, I want to mention the name, Jen Bansal, Akira Banjai, Solman Kembo, Tage Date, Kaligna, Shoman, Akira Korimoto, John Anderson Lago, Marian Wilson. They have done very important to the world cooperative movement, what is challenge and how we overcome about this challenge. Because just now, our today's convener, Balu Ayer asks, what is the challenge of these days? Mostly Asia AP, Nepal, Asia AP, and all over the world. What is the main problem about the statement in the cooperative identity? In Nepal, so many cooperative, primary cooperative, district cooperative, and central cooperative is very good identity they have built up. But some central cooperative union, some district cooperative union, and many primary cooperative union have to do so many things. Right now, they must adopt the 7 principles in Nepalese context. That's very important. I want to request all the leaders of Nepalese cooperative, all the managers of Nepalese cooperative. First of all, you must be real cooperator. Real cooperator. Real cooperator means they must adapt this principle. This is not a simple thing. More than 10 years, they have to take time to finalize this done. ICA General Assembly already passed this thing. I think 2015, it already passed. This is our major guideline. Major guideline in National Cooperative Federation also translate in Nepali to the general Nepalese people also can read. And the SDG is from UNO, but UNO also asked the ICA must adopt this 7 principle, 27 SDG, Sustainable Development Goal. This is interrelated to the cooperative and SDG. So about this also, National Cooperative Federation already published this book, and we government and cooperative movement have hand to hand to adopt these things. This is also very important for today's topics. So mostly some cooperative leaders, some cooperative leaders, and some primary, some district, some central, and also we have also some problem how to overcome all this all this problem. A statement in cooperative identity about the Omdevi Malla also presented, and Akira Korimoto also presented there. In Asia Pacific also so many cooperatives is very established identity within the cooperative 7 principles. Some cooperative organizations are not adapting fully this. This is challenge now. Your question is, what is the challenge of cooperative identity? So I don't want to take more time, but something is म अलिकति नेपालीमा भनौं। अब यो कार्यक्रम धेरै महत्त्वपूर्ण रहेछ। मैले त त्यो धेरै आजको विषय थाहा पाएको अलि हल्का हल्का मात्रै थाहा पाएको थिएँ। आउनु पर्छ है भनेर भन्नुभयो अनि आइम। अब यसमा I want to tell in Nepali. After some times, I think our officers will send you about my gist in my speech. मुख्य कुरो के छ भने सहकारीमा सहकारी र अब यो निजी व्यवसायको बीचको चाहिँ सैद्धान्तिक र व्यावहारिक ढंगले ठूलो अन्तर चाहिँ छ। त्यो अन्तरलाई कहीं कता कतिपय काममा चाहिँ हैन पर्याप्त तलबै भएन भने, पर्याप्त नाफा पनि भएन भने, पर्याप्त हामीले सुविधा भएन भने हामी किन सहकारीमा समर्पित भएर लागिरहने भन्ने खालको प्रवृत्तिहरू फाट्टाफुट्टा देखा परेको छ। यो फाट्टाफुट्टा देखा परेको चीजले चाहिँ ठूलो आकार नल्याओस् भन्ने कुरामा हामी सबै गम्भीर हुनुपर्छ। अहिले अनुवाद गरिरहने भन्दा पनि तपाईले सर टिप्नुस्। किनभने कोअपरेटिभ फिलोसफीलाई अन्तर्हृदयबाट चाहिँ बोक्ने कुरामा अझै धेरै अध्ययन चाहिँ हाम्रो नेपालको कोअपरेटिभ क्षेत्रका सबै including National Cooperative Federation and all the Central Cooperative Union, all the District Cooperative Union, and all the primary cooperative leaders and managers they have to learn the main motto of this philosophy. This is some challenges, some cooperatives. Every year, near about 5-10 cooperative is going out from the scene because they don't adopt the cooperative principle, value, and philosophy. So, म अलिकति चाहिँ मुख्य कुरो संसारको सम्पूर्ण प्राणी पदार्थ घटनालाई हेर्ने, विचार गर्ने, विश्लेषण गर्ने, व्याख्या गर्ने तरिकालाई दर्शन भनिन्छ। त्यो दर्शन सहकारी फिलोसफी भनेको बिल्कुल फरक छ अरु भन्दा, निजी कम्पनी गभर्नमेन्टले गर्ने कुरो भन्दा फरक छ र यसलाई ग्रहण गर्ने कुरामा अझै हामी डेप्थमा जान जरुरी छ र अझै हामीले धेरै कुरो गर्न पाइन्छ। एउटा यो कुरामा मैले अलिकति स्ट्रेस दिए, यो हाम्रो खास गरिकन संसारैभरि यो प्रब्लम छ, तर संसारको बारेमा त हामी बोकेर तार लाग्दैन, नेपालको बारेमा हामीले बोक्नु पर्छ र त्यो राष्ट्रिय सहकारी महासंघले नै यसलाई अलिकति बढी जोड दिनुपर्छ। सबै केन्द्रीय कमिटी, राष्ट्रिय सहकारी बैंक समेतले पनि यसलाई बोक्नु पर्छ। अब यसलाई हामीले दर्शनबाट डिरेल भयौं भने अनि सिद्धान्तलाई पनि ग्रहण गर्न सक्दैनौं। फिलोसफी एन्ड प्रिन्सिपल लास्टमा एकैचोटि तपाईँ टिप्नु भयो है, राम्रोसँग कसले गर्नुहुन्छ तपाईँहरूले होइन। त्यसले गर्दा चाहिँ यो सहकारी दर्शनको बारेमा र अरू बिजनेसको दर्शनको बारेमा बिल्कुल फरक छ, तर फरकलाई बुझ्ने र फरकलाई ग्रहण गर्ने कुरामा हामीले अझै जोड दिनुपर्ने हुन्छ र हामी सबैले अहम भन्न पर्छ। म इन्क्लुडिङ म आफूलाई चाहिँ म मुक्त छु भने आएन, हामी सबै all we must adapt the cooperative philosophy and cooperative principle deeply in practice in other area also. अब यो एउटा यसलाई अगाडि बढायौं भने सहकारी भित्र उत्पन्न हुने छ all the problem can we solve if we adapt the philosophy and principle of cooperative. अब समस्या कस्तो छ भने विचारधारात्मक समस्या पनि छ सहकारी भित्र। हेर्नुस् है, यो च्यालेन्ज भन्नुभएको थियो तपाईले हैन। त्यसैगरी विश्वसनीयतामा पनि समस्याहरू छन्। पारस्परिक विश्वासको वातावरण र सोचाइमा भएको विविधताले गर्दाखेरि पारस्परिक विश्वासको वातावरणमा पनि कमजोरीहरू छन्, जसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ गतिवान ढंगले अगाडि बढ्नलाई गाह्रो परिरहेको छ। व्यवस्थापन कौशल भनेको पनि धेरै महत्त्वपूर्ण कुरो हो र व्यवस्थापन कौशल हरेक सहकारीका, नेपालमा 88,000 चाहन्छन् सहकारी व्यवस्थापनका कर्मचारी छन् भन्ने कुरो छ। यो सबैमा र त्यसको लिडरमा कम्तीमा पनि यी त्यसका अगुवा व्यवस्थापनको लिडरमा पनि र सञ्चालक समिति, लेखा समितिका लिडर्सहरुमा पनि यो छ। किनभने हामीले जसले लिडिङ गर्नुपर्ने हो त्यही समस्याहरू चाहिँ फट्टाफुट्टा देखेको छ। व्यक्तिगत रूपमा भने संस्थागत रूपमा सिँगै त्यस्तो समस्या छ भन्ने कुरो मैले भनिरहेको छैन, त्यो प्रब्लम चाहिँ छ। त्यसैगरी निरन्तरता धैर्यताको, जस्तो काम गर्दै जाँदाखेरि कोही लिडरशिपमा आउँछ, कोही आउँदैन, छुट्छ। छुट्ने बित्तिकै कोअपरेटिभ फिलोसफी म त अब केही खास ठाउँमा छैन, मैले किन सहकारीलाई बल पुर्याइरहनु भन्दा चाहिँ नेतृत्वमा नभएका मान्छेहरू निराश हुने र अन्य क्षेत्रमा अन्य अब त्यो फिलोसफीबाटै बाहिर जाने, प्रिन्सिपल बाहिर जाने जुन प्रवृत्ति छ, यो चाहिँ सहकारीमा आइसकेका मान्छे त्यस्तो हुनु हुँदैन। यस बारेमा भनेको त हामीले हैन, अब धेरै उदाहरणको संसारमा धेरै मान्छेहरू छन्। त्यसमध्ये भरेश पुरिनलाई मैले लिने गर्छु हैन। निरन्तर 96 वर्षको उमेरसम्म पनि उनी सहकारी बाहिर गएनन् र त्यो खालको चाहिँ एउटा स्थिति हुन जरुरी छ। निरन्तरता धैर्यतालाई अलिकति अलिकति केही अप्ठ्यारो आउने बित्तिकै चाहिँ अलि निराश भएको, अलि फ्रस्ट्रेसन भएको, अलि दाएँ बाएँ अब के सहकारीमा लागिरहने भन्ने खालको भएको प्रवृत्ति पनि छ। एक तहको लिडरसिप पुगिसकेका मान्छेहरूमा त्यो खालको हुनु वास्तवमा सहकारीलाई गहन ढङ्गले अन्तर्हृदयमा इस्टाब्लिस गरेको रहेनछ कि के हो भन्ने त्यसले प्रश्न उठ्छ। अब सहकारी र व्यक्तिगत कम्पनीहरूको बिचमा फिलोसफिकली डिफरेन्स बिट्विन private company and cooperative. Vast difference. But the same people involved in private company and involved in cooperative. So at the time, त्यस्तो बेलामा चाहिँ हामी कहिलेकाहीँ अलिकति बढी हामी भड्किने हो कि अलिकति बढी हामी चाहिँ अब जीवन पनि त चलाउनु पर्छ भन्ने कुराको क्रममा अलिकति हामी भड्केर गल्ती बाटोमा जाने हो कि भन्ने चिन्ता अहिलेको च्यालेन्जमा यो स्ट्रेस एकदम यो फटाफट देखिन थालेको छ। किनभने कोअपरेटिभ क्षेत्रमा चाहे त्यो जुनसुकै विषयको जुनसुकै तहको लिडर्सहरूमा पनि यो एउटा यसले के गर्ने हो होइन, भोलि गएर चाहिँ क्रमशः पछि गएर चाहिँ कुनले जित्ने हो। किनखेरि हरेक मान्छेको ब्रेनमा दुईटा विचारहरू हुन्छ, कुनलाई चाहिँ जोड दिने भन्दा गलत कुरालाई जोड दियो भनेदेखि त सहकारिता कमजोर हुने खतराहरू हुन्छन्। त यो एउटा चाहिँ च्यालेन्ज छ, त्यसलाई हामीले ध्यान दिनुपर्ने हुन्छ। त्यसले गर्दा सहकारी व्यक्तिगत कम्पनीको बिचमा चाहिँ अलिकति समस्या आउने हो कि भन्ने चिन्ता आएको छ। च्यालेन्ज बालुजीले चुनौती के छ, वाट इज द च्यालेन्ज अबाउट दिस थिङ भन्ने। अब हिज क्वेसन, मेजर क्वेसन इज दिस थिङ, सो आई वान्ट टु एक्सप्लेन अबाउट दिस थिङ। त्यसपछि सहकारी भन्ने बित्तिकै सामाजिक न्याय र उत्पादकत्व वृद्धिलाई प्यारलली अगाडि बढाउने फिलोसफी हो र एउटालाई समाउँदा अर्को बिर्सिने। उत्पादकत्व वृद्धि जरुरी छ, नत्र टिक्दैन। उत्पादक वृद्धिलाई समाउँदाखेरि सामाजिक न्यायलाई चाहिँ अलिकति साइडमा पर्ने हो कि कमजोर हुने हो कि त्यसको चाहिँ अलि गति नहुने हो कि भन्ने चिन्ता यो देखा परेको छ। त्यस्तै गरी चाहिँ अर्को कुराहरू भनेको आर्थिक गरिबी र सामाजिक गरिबी, the two things is mostly in South Asia. I think other area also. Just one day before in America, sometime before George कालो मान्छे मारिएको थियो नि, जर्ज अब 2 days before, one black people have killed in this also. There is also differences between not only haves and have not, but also racial. In mostly South Asia, in the Dalit and Gair Dalit, women and men have difference. Our neighboring country in India, cooperative member, not more than I think 15% women in India. If I am wrong, I'm not wrong. Less women are member in Indian. More than 23 crore general member are in India, but among them, I think not more than 20% women are there. This is problem. Of course, in this point, in Nepal is 56% women are member, but some problem, यो आर्थिक गरिबीको सँगसँगै यो सामाजिक गरिबी भन्छ यसलाई, त्यो विभेद होइन, जात, भाषा, धर्म, संस्कृति, क्षेत्र, लिङ्ग, रूप, रङ्ग, अनुहार आदि इत्यादिको आधारमा विभेद जुन छ, यसलाई निमित्यान्न बनाउनु पर्ने फिलोसफी हाम्रो कोअपरेटिभ फिलोसफीले यसलाई चाहिँ त्यसरी अगाडि बढाउन चाहन्छ। त्यसमा अझ हाम्रो स्ट्रेस पुगेको छैन, त्यसलाई जति जोड दिनुपर्ने त्यति पुगेको छैन। यो बारेमा चाहिँ यो अर्को च्यालेन्ज पनि हाम्रो रहेको छ। र अर्को कुरा इकोनोमिक डेमोक्रेसी, आर्थिक क्षेत्रमा लोकतान्त्रिकरण र स्वाधीन अर्थतन्त्रको निर्माण गर्ने कुरा, जसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ यो जुन माथिका प्रब्लमलाई पनि सम्बोधन गर्न बल पुग्छ। त्यसमा अरू धेरै मेहनत गर्नुपर्ने, धेरै काम गर्नुपर्ने बाँकी छ र धेरै स्ट्रेस दिन जरुरी छ। हाम्रो चाहिँ अब near about 7.3 million general member is here. हैन त्यो सदस्यहरूको बिचमा यी कुरा अगाडि बढाउनलाई अलि धेरै मेहनत गर्नुपर्छ र अर्को कुरा यो फाट्टा चाहिँ अब हामीले in our constitution there is 3-pillar economic system in our present constitution, and our constitution preamble also is very good for the cooperative. But as about that, the so many act is problem to implement this thing. So we have to loving in the parliament, and other government also is needed for this. We have to adapt so many time to lobbying. Just constitution was come here. We both was member of constitution. At the time, I tell all the cooperators of Nepal, in the coming 2 years, your most important task is loving, because there is 753 local government, 7 provincial government, and 1 federal government. So we have to adapt so many times for the loving to the government also, because cooperative can develop by hand in hand to government and cooperator also. But for this time, all the cooperatives, they don't give so many time for lobbying, and this is not enough, I think so. This is also some problem. This cooperative identity, very important cooperative identity. I would like to thanks to ICAP, Balware, and ICA, and Mr. Akira Korimoto, very important person in Asia Pacific, because I think among the 8 person, only Asia Pacific region, Akira Korimoto was in this to build this document. So I would like to thanks very much to the Akira Korimoto and Baluji, and I don't want to take so many long time. Thank you very much. Sorry, I have taken some long time.
So these are some of the gist in regards to the challenges of cooperative identity in the context of Nepal. So the first one is the differences between cooperative and other businesses. If we are not able to identify our business, its uniqueness to other businesses, then so this is practiced in Nepal, and that is one challenge. Cooperators of Nepal, they are not following cooperative principle and values correctly. That is another challenge. As a result, some 15 cooperatives each year, they are not able to adopt values and principle, and they are facing the great problem. So this is one of the example of on following the cooperative identity. As a cooperator, we must not quit cooperative philosophy. So these practices are being developed these days in the context of Nepal. We must rule out these facts. And there is challenge in the reliability of the cooperators, and there is a variation in attitude of the cooperators and cooperatives. So this is another prime challenge as we are facing in the context of Nepal. And another challenge is the leaders, or every leader, they are not able to be a first man in the cooperative. And this disappointment and frustration is another challenge to adopt this cooperative identity in the context of Nepal. And same people involved in the private sector and the cooperative sector. So it is also one of the challenges to adopt this identity. And the cooperatives, we are not able to balance the balance between the productivity and the social justice. So that is another one challenge. And financial and social poverty, they are unanimously not going on, and that is another challenge. Racial inequalities in Africa and South Asia. So these are some of the challenges in terms of this cooperative identity. Another context, not in the context of Nepal, but in the context of South Asia, less women are member of cooperative. So that is another reason to adopt this cooperative identity. And in some cases, cooperatives are not able to practice economic democracy, and it creates a great challenge to follow this cooperative identity. And in the context of legislative part of Nepal, some interrelated act, they are not friendly in reference to the Constitution of Nepal. So because of this reason, it creates some hindrances to follow this cooperative identity, and it's as one of the challenges. So the inadequate time for lobbying and advocacy to the different level governments, because the cooperatives have they have no proper time to give. So this is another one challenge of the cooperative identity. Thank you.
From CCFL and NCBL, what challenges do you all see?
सरकारको मान्छेहरूले पनि हामीले कोअपरेटिभको चाहिँ यो बारेमा बुझाउन सक्नु र अनि यता हाम्रो आफ्नो अभियानमा पनि फुल्ली हाम्रो जुन सिद्धान्त मूल्य दर्शनलाई बुझाउन सक्नु दुईटा च्यालेन्ज मैले समग्रमा संक्षिप्तमा भन्दा त्यो दुईटाको लागि कभर गर्दै जान्छ।
लेट मी सरको कुरा भनिदिनुहोस् अनि म एउटा थप्नु।
गभर्नमेन्ट हाम्रा ब्युरोक्राट्सहरूलाई हाम्रो लिडरहरूले पनि
So on behalf of the chairman of National Cooperative Federation, basically we are facing two major challenges in terms of the cooperative identity. The first one is we are not able to convince the different level governments and stakeholders about the significance of the cooperatives. That is one major challenge. And another challenge as a cooperators, we are not able to practice the cooperatives, the major cooperatives, they are not able to practice it in the field. So these are two of the prime challenges that we have to overcome from.
Now training and education. So now is okay been before. You pun to na education शिक्षा तालीम के चैनल चला.
Let's go to NHPCFL. Can you mute?
Oh, sorry.
me myself.
Can you talk into that? You're not able to hear you. No, it's that laptop. Okay.
मेरो देखियो नि त। कहाँ देखियो म? एकखेम सरबाट देखेको छु। देखिनु पर्यो। मिलाइदिन्छु सर। Okay, and recently I have visited all 6 districts just to find out the commercial farm for the one. We have implementing one project in close collaboration with European Union, and then I got wondered to see the farm owner. Almost 90% of the farm owner they are youth. So they are getting the loan from small farmer agriculture cooperatives, and in turn they are getting the loan from small farmer development banks. So this is also the challenge for us as to how to retain the youth within the cooperatives. I don't see the sustainability of this youth within the agriculture, as they are not getting, still till now they are not getting the a market and good price. One is that, and I just wanted to address the ICA global that you have invited Vandana Shiva for the global conference. That since the very beginning she is advocating for this seat and local seat, and once upon a time I was the student of the Vandana Shiva in USA. So NSCFL is also addressing the climate change by providing the local seed, and we have worked with the Ministry of Agriculture for these 7 years by improvement for the local seed and distributed this seed to the local community, and we are advocating for the local seed promotion. And another is climate smart agriculture, eco-friendly agriculture, and integrated pest management agriculture. This is also what NSCFL is doing. And another that recently our chairman said, we are also focusing and bringing the member from the Doom, Chamar, Mushar, Raute. They are very indigenous people. They are the member of the NSCFL, and they are also getting the benefit from the benefit and service from the NSCFL. That is what we are doing from these perspectives that I have dragged this from this document: education, economic activities, climate change, climate smart agriculture, and addressing the inequalities, and returning youth within the cooperatives.
What challenges do you all face?
Well, I mean, most of the part is covered by Bodal sir and Mindraj sir. Just to add on it, one is about the understanding about the principle among the cooperatives is different, right? How you understand autonomy and independence. If you ask, there is a different of understanding on it itself. And that is difference in understanding about the principle is one challenge we feel. Yeah, education always highlight, and there is also difference in practices and principle, right? The practices is completely sometimes goes beyond what principle says. So I think these two are the challenge we feel, and we also need to address it. So for that, I think we need to be clear about the values. If you say honesty, definition of honesty among us, we have different definition, right? I feel myself is very honest. And some people say themselves is very honest. So there is difference in understanding. So we need to fix it out. What exactly that is? What is the minimum indicator that we would feel the principle is obliged or not, right? So that is what we do. And there is a poor coordination. I would say, being a CEO of NCPL, sometimes I might think only my balance sheet and something like that, right? I want to go beyond that. I want to go beyond the cooperative identity. I want to go beyond that. Why? Because of the stakeholder and surrounding environment makes me to do that way. So cooperation, coordination, and understanding about the principal values and minimum characteristic. What does that mean for me, for my organization, for my society? Something like that. We need to be very clear on it. Else we will keep talking, and that's what.
Thank you again.
Sorry.
It's there are no mandatory training in cooperatives in Nepal. Sir, actually, we have a our fifth principle is training, education, and information. But there is no mandatory training in cooperative sector. We have a one central level training center that is run by government, and we as Apex organization, NCF and NCBL, NACCFL, NEFSCUN, and some of the central level federation and some district level cooperatives, we are organizing some training program. And as per our Cooperative Act, every cooperatives must allocate at least 5% to education fund. After that, after the allocating the reserve fund and patronage fund and cooperative promotion fund, but cooperatives, they don't understand, or they are not actually they are not understand the importance of training and education. That's one point. So now the as per the Constitution of Nepal, as per the federal system of federal government system of Nepal, not only federal government, also local level government, they are the responsible to supervise, to coordinate, to promote the cooperative sector. That's why this is one of the important point is training, education, and information in the cooperative sector. This is one lacking point. We have a education fund, but they are not interested to send their managers, their board members, their members. That's one point. And in Nepal, there are many cooperatives, large cooperatives, in terms of membership, in terms of business transaction, and we say cooperatives are member-centered business. Member-centered business. So how they conduct, how they ensure the participation of members, participation of their members. That is one of the issue. And the another issue is governance system. I mean, we have a very good internal control system. We have a board members, we have a account supervisory committee also, we have their CEO and management team, but the we are looking, we are seeing the account and supervisory committee, how they govern or how they govern. That's another point. So these are my point. These are the challenges in cooperative sector in Nepal.
Yeah. Good afternoon to everybody here once again. So thank you very much for providing the opportunity to tell us about the implementing status of the statement of the cooperative identity. Yeah, since the cooperative identity is Om Devi Madam already mentioned that it is the holy document for all the cooperators. Yeah, so we should have to apply it very honestly. As our ex-chairman Badal sir also mentioned that thing very very strongly. Yeah? So I see so far the challenges is concerned. Yeah. So I see, I think it may be a kind of a summary of all the discussion that the compliance of the statement of cooperative identity itself is a challenge. So because as Mr. Badri already mentioned that there is the variation of understanding about the cooperative principles, values, and everything. Yeah? So how you perceive it and you will act accordingly. So that kind of variation is there. So what is the remedy for that kind of challenges is ultimately our GMs have already mentioned that the training and education. Yeah. So that kind of things it is lacking here. So we have to add more programs for the cooperative training and education activities. So one thing, and another thing is that the sometimes, yeah, the centrality of the membership is the core principle of the whole document of the statement of the cooperative identity. But sometimes cooperative should focus on the other public also. Yeah? Yes, at that time, like for example, the health cooperatives, this cannot only as a limit to within the member, and other transportation cooperatives also, and other consumer cooperatives also, they cannot limit only to their member. Yeah? Even if the cooperatives principle is for the servicing to the members, but at that time we have to take care for the public also, should we, because we are concerned for the community also as per the seventh principle. Yeah. So at that time our rules and regulations sometimes restrict us. Oh, you don't have to go there, you don't have to shop to the public people. Why? But at that time we cannot limit ourselves, because these are the very common goods and services that we have to provide to the all common people, common consumers. Yes, at that time we need to educate our bureaucrats or our policy makers. Yeah, in such and such cases we cannot limit within our member, because these are the things for common interest. Yeah? So at that time we need to again emphasize on the training and education to the policy maker. Yeah, that thing. And another challenge is that itself the climate change and the global warming itself is a challenge even to the members of the cooperative, because most of the members of the cooperatives are staying there in the rural area, and they are mostly in the farm field, and the farm field is very much affected by the climate change. So we need to introduce that kind of measures to address the climate change. For example, let's say the National Cooperative Federation and the other cooperatives in Nepal, what they are doing or what they are contributing for the mitigation of the effect of climate change. So we have introduced, since from 2 decades, we introduced the renewable energy technologies, yeah, like biogas, solar system, improved water mill, improved cookie stops. Yeah, and we are encouraging our people. We are awareing our people. We are coordinating with the different vendors like commercial bank and other cooperative, national cooperative bank at the time, to invest on that particular technologies, so that they can be benefited from the climate action. So that kind of common challenges are there. And another one is the cooperation among the cooperatives. You know, let's say there is the structure, federal structure of the cooperatives. Yeah. So since we all know that the structure of the cooperatives say that the primary cooperatives is the producer, and sometimes to some extent they are the collector. Yeah? And the district level subjective cooperatives, to some extent they collect, they stock, and they process the things. And this subjective cooperatives, central level subjective cooperatives are basically designed for the marketing of the things. Yeah, what the primary cooperatives are produce. So in that case, it's this kind of function and the role of the National Cooperative Federation in even all country also, maybe the policy making, lobbying, advocacy in order to make the conducive business environment so that their business could run. Yeah? But this federal structure is not been functionable in all parameters, you see. So how to make them functionable from bottom to top? Yeah. So that's also challenge. In case of Nepal also we say, another is that the coordination with the government people and the other stakeholders, like our chairperson from the National Cooperative Bank and board member KB sir mentioned that we need to coordinate even to the other international cooperation agencies, government people, and the cooperative people. Yeah. So even if we coordinate them, we will have the synergic effect. What are their objectives is also our objective. So if we coordinate among ourselves, maybe the synergic effect will be happen. And let's say what is doing, and National Cooperative Federation is doing that we have composed a cooperative coordination network here, and every 2 months, every 2 months or 3 months, we invite them, other ministry people, the department people from the government, the NGOs people, the INGOs people, and we all central level federation, sit together and discuss on the issue, try to resolve the issue with our common effort. So that kind of a collaboration among the stakeholders is also needed. That's all. Thank you very much.
I think we're running out of time. I have one last question, maybe quickly, if you can get. There was mention about youth. If you're talking about future of cooperatives, we need to bring in. You're talking about future of cooperatives, we need to bring in youth. So what are you all doing to attract youth? What is the challenge that you're seeing, and how do we bring in more youth? So maybe if we can quickly, in the next 5 minutes, get quick responses, and then we can bring this section to a close.
सुरेशजी अथवा उसले तपाईँ भनिदिनु युथको एट्र्याक्सनको लागि हामीले के गरिरहेको छौँ, के गर्नु एउटा कमिटी उपसमिति बनाएको
अहिले सुरेशजी अनि हाम्रो अहिले एनसीबीएलले चाहिँ सबै 68 वटा शाखामा यो चाहिँ बाल क्लब चाहिँ बनायो, सुरु भएको सबै एकै सबै यो नेसनल कोअपरेटिभको उसमा, अनि हामीले 68 वटा शाखामा अब उनीहरूलाई कसरी बजेट राखेर कार्यक्रम राखेर रन गर्दैछौँ हामी स्कुल कलेजमा NCBL मार्फत भन्ने भन्दैछ।
Thank you very much. So the participation of youth in the context of a Nepalese cooperative movement is always a challenge and opportunity. In this context, the cooperative movement of Nepal have momentarily done a lot of things to incorporate youth participation in cooperatives. In line with this, National Cooperative Federation of Nepal yearly conducts the national level youth workshop to encourage them in the core business level and entrepreneurship, cooperative entrepreneurship. Another issues that we are facing is the youth committee. Most of the cooperatives in Nepal, they have formed a youth committee, and in National Cooperative Federation of Nepal also, youth committee is active to motivate other cooperative organizations as well. So the legislation of Nepal also provision that only the 15 youth can run the youth cooperatives, which is easier than the other normal cooperative setup. And there are other organizations and they allocate funds to youth, such as the Youth Council of Nepal allocates subsidies and soft loans to the youth cooperators. That is another significance criteria and significance of Nepal to incorporate youth in the cooperatives. So recent data shows that around 30% youth, they are in cooperatives of Nepal, and the member organization of NCF, National Cooperative Bank Limited, also opens the youth club in 68 branches of NCBL. So, in school and college level, that is a very significant initiatives of NCBL to incorporate youth participation in cooperative sector. However, there are some challenges still we are facing. The major challenge is from the point of view of policy. The policy is not provisioned to mandatorily include 33% as in comparison to the women cooperators. So if the policy address these things, that will be better and that will be easier to increase the youth participation in cooperative sector. And the another challenge is the adoption of the technology that NCF this year set a theme as cooperatives for decent business and technology, which we believe that it helps to attract youth in the cooperatives. And the another challenge is to motivate the youth committee of different cooperatives. Youth committee are already there, but their activeness and their significant contributions to promote cooperatives, there are some challenges in terms of this. So these are the things in the context of Nepal. And the another prime challenge to include youth in cooperatives is they have very most of the youth, they have less belief that how they could sustain in cooperatives, because they are not able to get any soft loan or some other incentives from cooperatives. So that is one of the major issues that we have to address, and they must be ensured in their future that they are secure in cooperative sector, cooperative business, and cooperative job. So NCF is momentumly this year trying to encourage youth and to create a vibrant and cooperative sector. So these are some of the current issues, challenges, and possibilities of youth participation in the context of Nepalese cooperative movement.
To retain youth within the network of small farmer agriculture cooperatives. Till now, more than 3,000 youth went to Israel under the heading of Learn and Earn program. And upon the completion of the training, they returned to Nepal, and more than 55%. This study shows that the more than 55% of youth started their own agriculture enterprise, which was launched in Israel. So this is the very attractive scheme for this is the very attractive scheme to retain the youth within the cooperatives one. And another that recently government also bring the one policy for the community or cooperative farming, that is in Marane Jhoda, it has already been started, cooperative farming, and every year the government allocated on the cooperative farming 5 lakhs to 50 lakhs subsidies, and this is also very good opportunity for youth to be within that projects. And recently our chairman said that soft loan provided within the agriculture, that is in they have access of the 3%, they have access of the 3% agricultural loan. So the and if you look the repayment rate of the youth entrepreneur is 100%. So this is also the very good example for the to retain youth within the cooperatives. And another that every year we just keep the database, and as to which youth are doing very good, and just reward the youth in front of other youth. So for the motivation, that is what we are doing.
Okay, I think we break the
NCVL on its budgeted activities inserted to formulate youth club at the higher school. The primary objective of this program is educate them and engage them. First, to educate them informally, because formally course of study and all part is going on and we cannot wait for that. We will do some extra activities, essay writing competition, quiz contest, and celebration of National Cooperative Day, International Cooperative Day, and we will give them some money to do that. After 1 year, we will select one cooperative as an how to say, to take care of that part, and we will go to another school. So we will educate them. And engagements, we are lobbying and advocating to saying that make one youth board of directors in the cooperative sector. I mean, in each cooperative, one youth should be a board of director with the age of 24 or something like that, right? And if they, if we feel that they will cast their vote in appropriately, then we can make them honorary board of director, no problem. Let us engage them to cooperative sector, and later on we will make an informal national forum for them. After electing some, making district level, province level committee of youth, and we will make a national level loose forum for the youth. And in each school, principal or one teacher will be guardian for that team, because they are, and that way we will do it. And this year we are planning to formulate 68 youth cooperatives club at school level. So educate them informally, I would say, not formally, and engage them to the extent possible.
Increase this problem, this number of them.
And in next year we will increase by next 60, and hopefully other federation and other cooperative will copy this, and 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 club will be formulated. They will educate and they will aware about cooperative principle, values, and philosophy.
We continue to take care of this.
Yeah, and we will take care of this project and will support financially.
Yeah.
In hard work about these issues. And another one, we are going to start also school level, and 10 and 9 to 12. Not a duita mama de workshop, and we are extremely lobbying in central development education. Curriculum Development Center. They are lobbying, and they are also going to syllabus, making syllabus now. So this is also good point for youth.
Have you unmuted yourself?
The cooperatives, they have the child seva, yeah? Child membership they have in most of the cooperatives. So when they are, they has to be in adult stage, yeah. At that time they will be the full member, yeah. So those child savers are the new generation which will automatically convert into the members. So it is a kind of automatic increasement of the membership.
Just to add on that first.
Okay, I think let me bring this meeting to a close. It's been much longer than I expected, but thank you very much for your participation and providing your input. And if you have anything in writing, please feel free to share it with us, because you talked a lot. We may not have captured everything. So please send it in writing. I think the point which when we talk about youth, it's not just in terms of being a member, but not to repeat that same mistake. I think most of you all have mentioned that the understanding of principles is not there, it's not to the extent that it should be there. So maybe when we start with the youth, yes, they have to be members, but more important is how do we explain the principles? What does it really mean to be a cooperative? I think that becomes much more important. That's one. And second is, how do you engage them? How do you encourage them to do something? Until unless you really do something, listening and then somebody saying is not good enough. You need to hear what people say, but also need to practice. I think that becomes very important. But again, I would like to thank Professor Kurimoto. Thank you very much for spending the last 3 hours online with us. Also like to thank my colleagues for being online. They have the tough task of now making a report. So please send it in writing so that it will help them in terms of preparing the report. I'd like to thank all our members from Nepal, Mr. Minraj Kadalji, Badalji, Om Deviji, from NCBL, Mr. Kriti from NACCFL, Mr. Pathakji, Chitra, Babu Khanal, Gautam, is it? Adhikari, right? Okay. But no, Badri, and then Suresh, and I apologize if I don't have everyone's name. Thank you very much for being part of this. I think your contribution and understanding. Just quickly, I'll give you a thing. Let me just finish. As you all know, in November and December, we have this deepening the cooperative identity, the Congress, which will take place in Seoul. We hope that we'll have the situation will improve with vaccinations being increased across many countries. Even though the number of cases are still increasing, but then the vaccination should help. And we hope that things will improve by November, December to be able to travel. So if we are able to travel, I'd encourage you all to travel to Korea to attend the Congress. But also, we are hoping that the ICAP will have its regional assembly and board elections. We are supposed to have the board elections for the regional board. It was to have been held last year, but because of the pandemic, we could not hold it. And our rules say that the election should be conducted in person. Even though we do electronic voting, members need to be present in person. That's the ICA rule. You can't have, though the ICA General Assembly approved online voting, but that's only for administrative purposes. But for board elections, we need to meet in person. So we would like to welcome delegates from Nepal to whoever's able to attend, and others, if you're not able to attend, you can give your proxy to the people attending. So that I would like to encourage you all to attend the Congress. And if you're not able to attend in person, take part in it online. And Nepal is a growing, has many, I think, for as far as cooperatives go, for me and in the region, you all are setting an example in many areas. One is, as was mentioned, cooperatives are part of the Constitution. Second is, you all are doing a lot of work on the Sustainable Development Goals, and including mention about cooperatives in the SDGs. And then the COVID-19 pandemic and the examples which you all have given, for example, the in terms of the bank, that private banks were not functioning, but cooperative banks were functioning. So that makes us unique. Even on the agriculture side, agriculture was shown very important. Even though we were sitting at home, farmers were still needed, production was still needed, you still needed. I think agricultural cooperatives have done very well. And so as a federation, you all have done very good work. And I think please continue that, but there are still challenges, but I think it's much more vibrant. And I'd like to thank you all for the work that you all are doing, for being members of ICA, and for the contribution that you all are making. So thank you very much. I'll now leave the floor to Mr. Minraj Kadalbi to say a few words, and then we'll bring this meeting to a close.
Thank you, Balu Ayadji. This is a very fruitful meeting interaction program in NEFCON meeting hall. This was the NCF meeting hall. This is the statement of cooperative identity. It is very fruitful interaction program. I would like to thank Balu Ayad, Regional Director of ICAP, our ICA board member Omji, and our Akira Kurimoto from Japan. They present the paper. Our immediate past chairperson, Mr. Badal, very valuable suggestion. Our both board of directors, they are the chairperson of NCBL and the NECCFL. They are both are the board member of NCF also. And our GM, DGM, our CEOs, our staffs. So in coming future, this is very challenging subject, cooperative identity. This discussion will be very fruitful coming days. In the future, we'll fully how to implement the cooperative identity, which is the this year will be theme also ICA. So I will like to thanks ICAP, ICA, and all the people who are participant in this program. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. We can bring this to a close. And again, thank you for being part of this consultation. And thank you to my team in Delhi office for being part. And again, thank you to Professor Kurimoto for being part of this long consultation with our members in Nepal. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much on behalf of all the Nepalese people. You want to